Welcome back, everyone. Lancescurv here. I've been having some very interesting conversations with various friends of mine and acquaintances to different degrees of closeness. And I know that the big distraction these days is the whole Diddy trial and Cassie. But it's very interesting how these things can come out. They've already been going on for a long time. And I was speaking earlier to Madam Whipass, and we were speaking about how some women, and this is not about just women, it's about proximity, but because it's a very popular happening now, we're speaking in terms of those dynamics because we can have men that are manipulated by women the same way. But we were speaking about how Diddy has all of this money, and he can pretty much get what he wants. And Madam Whipass asked me, she said, well, Cassie and Jane Doe, who I'll say is rumored to be 50 Cent's baby mama. And she's a very gorgeous woman. Cassie's attractive, but after hearing what we heard, it's like, oof, a lot of men would not want to wife her up. But she asked me, she says, if Diddy was a regular dude who, let's say, had lower middle class money, no vehicle, no big savings, no fame, no influence, a mediocre life, which there's nothing wrong with that. She said, would that version of Diddy, the theoretical, imaginary version of Diddy, be able to pull a woman like Cassie, who was making on her own about $250,000, which pales in comparison to what Diddy has amassed over the last 30 years? I know that's not exact, but time has flown. He's been around for a long time. Would that version of Diddy be able to catch the eye of a Cassie or a Jane Doe or any other woman who pretty much has made her mark in doing the damn thing, pretty much successful? Because you have different levels of success, especially on a monetary level. We know that. But success is not just about money. It's how, to me, you're balanced within yourself and you can accept yourself and you have dealt with your inner demons. I'm not saying anybody's possessed. You know what I mean. And you're at peace with yourself. And most people aren't. And I think she was a little surprised when I said, yeah, you do have some men who would catch the attention of a woman who is so highly successful that most would say, how in the heck did he pull her? You've said it probably. I know I've said it. I'm not here to judge. But it's like, wait a second. This guy, and it's not about having, it's the status, it's the pedigree. It usually doesn't happen that way. I said, yeah, I've seen it happen many times, repeatedly, with some of the same guys. And she said, well, how does it happen? I said, well, here's my theory. You have, I'm not casting this other version of Diddy that we're using for this example as an evil guy. But let's take an evil version of that guy, meaning that he's out to get or snag a successful woman for his own purposes. And she wouldn't usually pay a man like that any mind consciously. But when she runs into this particular guy who has narcissistic, evil intentions on capturing this woman for his own purpose, those guys are out there. And what I see in those types of guys, and I'll give an example, a really good one that I saw work out. Those guys have a great gift of discernment. They have a spiritual gift. And see, people think most often when they hear this off of the top of their head, spiritual gift, good person. It doesn't mean that when you have a spiritual gift that it automatically puts you in the category of being a good person. Because I've said this before. You take a pastor, a preacher, right? And you take a pimp who has women working all out in the street, or maybe not in the street, in the sex industry, on an out-call service. There are different ways of doing that. The difference between the pastor and the pimp is not much, except that they have the same gift of influence. And it all depends what type of person that is. It all depends how they use that gift. If you give me a hammer to perform a task, even before I knew what that task was, right? And you give me this hammer, I'm automatically thinking you're going to have me pull out nails or drive nails in. And you give it to another person who has that same gift of a hammer. The first thing in their mind is like, I'm going to bash somebody up in the head and take their money. They're taking and using the same gift, which is physical in this point, to make the point, and doing something completely different with it. So you have men out here who will target you to see how you feel. They'll test you. Other men would say, oh no, I could have never pull a woman like that on that level. It doesn't just mean money. It also means spiritual ascension, enlightenment, being at peace with yourself. How many times have we seen men come into women's life who they may have desired a relationship righteously and maybe a little lonely, but that man came into her life and made it seem like it was all good for a little while and wrecked that woman's life up. And you hear women, oh, Shirley was doing so good. Yeah, she was by herself, but she wasn't bothering nobody. She paid her bills. She was living life. She'd come around us. We'd have a ball. But as soon as that little bugger got in her life and she thought the world of him, her world collapsed. Because men like that have a gift of discernment. Demons have gifts of discernment and just as many gifts as people who would be considered to be righteous users of those gifts and wreck your world. And it's a narcissistic spirit, of course, but there are a lot of other things that go along with it. But many women, not all, remember that, many, and many of us as human beings, because what I'm saying for the woman holds true for many men. Most of us are incomplete. Most of us have voids. We have gaps on the inside, in our heart, in our spirit, openings that the world can't see. You can't physically see these things. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we have these gaps. And compare it to the 3 holes on a bowling ball. Bowling ball is pretty big. And you got those 3 holes where your finger, and these gnats are coming around me because of these bright lights in my face, so I'm not going crazy if you see me waving around. But those holes in the bowling ball enable you to get a grip, right? So you can hold the bowling ball and try to knock down the pins. Well, those gaps are not like holes that you can see, but they're inside of us. And a person who has bad intentions on your life, or to use you, or to steal your destiny, or stop you from getting to your destiny, they see those little holes inside of you, and it gives them a grip that the world can't see. And they test you out. They feel you out. They lay their gift of discernment in the wrong way over you and can see what it is. You ever see the precious metal, the metal detectors that guys are on the beach and they're waving it a few inches above the sand? Because people go to the beach and they drop their jewelry, their watches, expensive stuff. And when they wave over something metallic, not an aluminum can, they have it set to catch gold and silver. And they pull out their little shovel and they dig. Well, these people get around you. If they have some type of intention on your life, it's like they're waving a metal detector, but it's not metal they're looking for. It's your trauma. It's the bad things that you've gone through that you haven't healed up from yet. And when you haven't healed up from certain things, you still may desire the righteous thing. You may not be healed from the relationship that broke your heart 2 years ago. You feel better, but it's still there. You still yearn for a good man in your life, but you're not stupid. I'm not trying to say that women who get caught up with these types of guys are desperate and would go run with anybody. No, you have sense and you pride yourself on that. And you've been doing very good. But you have to understand these demons in human form are enabled with something that you alone just can't fight. You alone just can't always see it. You go to bed, hot summer night, your screen in the window's cracked this much, you forgot to push it all the way in. You didn't realize it was up. You had a couple pieces of watermelon, sugar going through your bloodstream, and you wake up itching because those mosquitoes tore you up. Because they have a sense of where you are and what they can get from you. They have those gifts while you are fast asleep. You see? So they get around you and become everything you wanted in a man. They'll shape shift. It will feel good. They have the ability to temporarily actually become what you want and fill in those gaps. They fill it in. You don't realize it, but it feels good. You feel whole. But just like the locksmith that comes around to your car or to your home and you lost your last key, you were meaning to make copies of the key for that lock. You had one left and you lost that. So now there's a contraption. I forgot what the exact name was, but they will come to your lock, whether it's your automobile or your home, and they put this contraption inside the keyhole. Now inside the keyhole, you have your tumblers, the shape of the key that pushes it up to make everything open up. This thing goes in and takes the form. This might go up a little bit. There are little pieces in there that take the form of that lock hole, the perfect shape of the key. And they lock it and they pull it out. And from that, they have a template to make a new key. When the keys come, you know it's going to work, but you just can't believe it. You push the key in and everything works. Well, these guys, and for the men, these women, have a way with their discernment of pushing this contraption inside of you and reading you, sizing you up, knowing how far they can go, knowing what they can and cannot say. They don't want to step on your toes. They don't want to step on your heart in a certain way to make you jump because you haven't healed yet. They want to come in and fit you perfectly and even appear to be one who is helping you to heal because it feels so good and they only bring you good energy, so it appears. So you have this regular Joe, not to put him down because he doesn't make the money that this woman, we're just saying this in theoreticals. He gets in. It feels good. He's learning you. Let's go to the story, and I told this one before, maybe in a really short way. After I got out of working with the incarcerated, and I started driving for the bus company, I saw a lot of the guys that I knew that were locked up. I never had any problem with any of them. So when they would see me in public, it was all love. Some of them you know good, some of them you don't know. Some will just nod their head because they know you, and you don't say anything because they may not want to talk about that part of their life that was when they were incarcerated. But I noticed this one guy, a lighter complected brother. He was quiet in jail. And he was quiet in the street. When I first started driving the bus company, you know, you'd have your hours, then you'd have a little overtime. They'd offer, say, hey, you want to come back early in the morning and do this little piece of work and then come back and do your regular? I said, yeah, sure. And when I would go out there in the morning time, during the morning rush, I'd see this guy that I knew from the jail. Didn't even know his name. But he would stand there on the bus stop, and you'd see him maybe talking to a young lady. He'd get on the bus with her, ride on the round trip, because when I came back on my round trip, he was back there again. He was scoping out women in the morning time who were going to work. He was dressed like he was going to work, not overdone, not jewelry and like he's going to a club or a birthday party. No, professional. And he usually wore some of the same things all the time, right? So he had a limited wardrobe, but he milked it. And so he was on my bus stop one morning. He got on the bus and he rode the whole way around. But he had started a conversation with a young lady, and he sat next to her and they had a light conversation. Innocent. I heard most of it. I have very good hearing. But I knew he was out there in a predatory manner. I couldn't prove it, but after a while, I knew it. So he would take his time, and maybe if he saw that he couldn't get to a certain place with this working woman, he'd try other ones. And so one day, I realized I haven't seen him for a while. I was at the red light on the bus, and he honks the horn at me. He's in the car now. He's driving. It was, what was it, a Toyota 4Runner. It was pretty much brand new. A lot of the women, a lot of people who work, they don't always drive their cars. Easier sometimes to take public transportation. Less chance of accidents and mishaps, and some people do that, right? And I knew that it was this particular woman that he would come to the bus stop with, and he got with her. And she's on a cell phone talking to him or whatever. Then I noticed when I was driving the bus on a different side of town, I saw him in the 4Runner with a different woman hugged up on him. You're running a game, running a hustle. He probably told this new girl that was his vehicle. Maybe he brought that new woman back to the apartment to the woman that he's with who's at work right now. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, there are men out here who can check you out, assess you properly. Even though you may have the game face on, they can see right through that, and they can see how to get to you, faster or slower. So you have to let these guys know up front, not just by saying it, but just what you tolerate. So you can't let the voids that you may have, I'm not saying you're deficient, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, because me at 62 years old, there are things that I have to work on now. Maybe those voids are shrunken and very small, but no matter how small they get, those predatory spirits, those narcissistic predatory spirits, can see them. They're not going to go after anybody where they cannot see a sign of entry. I won't call it weakness, because we're all in a state of healing for different things in our life. Different things. Some things may have happened to you a certain way that didn't happen to me. My trauma may have come a different way. Maybe I didn't have much trauma to me, but I witnessed it in other family members or people close to me, right? Then there's the mental things, the emotional things, the things that we strive for, that we didn't achieve yet, but we know we can do it. We all have different types of frustrations. And this is where they slip between the cracks. This is where they figure out your timing, how to get to you. Like I always say, you got that girl standing next to them two ropes, skipping double dutch. The two girls are twisting it. And you got the one girl on the side timing the ropes so when they can jump in and jump for as long as they can. The main thing is to know that you have many people around you, whether you know it or not, who are timing you. Like that girl looking to jump in. They're looking to jump into your life. They're looking to jump into your life and get your resources or either drain you down. You have some men who despise women. Like I believe Diddy despises women. I mean, he likes men too, but he despises women. You have some men who despise the righteous power of a woman and feels that he needs to get around her to destroy her, and only to do that with his sweet words and kind compliments. You got to know who you're letting in your life. We don't always know. And this we can flip it from the women to the men. But in this case, this is the way I'm speaking. And I've said this before. Let me just check the time. Okay, I'm good. We don't know, or we know how we see those around us in our world and in the world. We know, we can pretty much assess. We're wrong sometimes. When you live life a little bit, your discernment is pretty much through the roof. You know what's around you. But what we fail to realize is that we have to understand how people see us. And when we understand how people see us, we'll understand how these predatory entities that are looking to jump the double dutch rope and get in our life and be all up in it, we have to understand how we come off. And just like I said on the show the other day, I think I was talking with Brother Neil Frazier, aka Metamorphosis, that I strive now to be the gray man. I said gray, not gay, gray, the color gray. G-R-A-Y or G-R-E-Y, depending on how you spell it. And what does that mean? To not draw attention to myself, to be neutral, to blend in, to be forgettable as I move about in this world. Because if you can be forgettable with all of these sharks around you, all of these entities around you who are just looking to come at you like it's the day before Christmas, you know, or the day after Christmas, which is, if you celebrate that, fine, okay? The day after Christmas, when you still go shopping, trying to get a deal because all the prices drop, everything's picked over. Everything's picked over. No matter who you see around you, somebody tried them. And so if you can remain as something that doesn't stand out, that's defense, that's being shrewd, that's being smart, because you attract less people to you. How would I look going on in my backyard? All I'm hearing is crickets. A huge backyard back there. I will not go back there. I don't know what's crawling around out there at nighttime. But how would I look cutting on a lamp, a bright lamp, and sitting under it? All of the bugs and all the different types of things will start flying around and getting on me. Maybe they'll bite me. Maybe they might give me some kind of sickness. I don't know. But I'm attracting these bugs to me. You got to move in a stealth manner. You can't be so loud. I don't mean loud as far as your vocal cords, but in your movements, in your dress, the way you may get loud in public and confrontational. And people say, hey, I remember 2 weeks ago she got in an argument with the cashier at the supermarket. They remember you. I'm not looking to wear bright shoes. I'm not looking to wear all this jewelry. I don't want people to remember that way. I want to be able to move about this earth with the least amount of distraction on my part. And me in Ghana here, I do that successfully. There are many people who don't even know I'm still here. Haven't heard from you, man, and just haven't seen you. I'm doing the videos all the time. I'm still here. But I'm not running around trying to be this media, whatever. I love doing what I do, and I think when I'm focused on it, I do it well, consistent. I have my own studio here to do all my work, and I'm still not all the way done yet. It's cool. It comes in time. So I'm not so anxious to push my face out there as much. When it happened before with my old channel, it just happened. But it wasn't about popularity. It wasn't about being seen, because I'm cool now being the gray man. Because now when I come more powerful, but with more locks on my doors and my openings and my windows. I won't be so easily acceptable or easily detectable. I said acceptable. It's time for me to go, y'all. I'm getting tired. Easily acceptable. Where'd that come from? But anyway, just a word to the wise and those who need to know that there are people who can get you. And people who can get you caught up in their life to the point where their problems become yours. And you'll be wondering, how the hell did I get here? How in the heck did I get in this situation with this knucklehead? Might be somebody that you're with for 5 years and they give you a year and a half bliss. And you're holding on for the last 3.5 years thinking you'll get that back again, but it won't happen. These shapeshifters are good at what they do. And most of the time, they're narcissists. You mean nothing to them. They want to monkey branch you. Monkey branch meaning when you see a monkey swing from one tree to the next, they're with you now for what you can offer, but as soon as they see something that they deem in their mind to be better, then they're going to leave you alone. Just like that, no emotion. Be careful what you're dealing with, because there are a lot of people out here, they don't have any empathy, they don't have any sympathy, they feign emotions, they talk the talk just to sweet your ears up, but you're a tool for them to get to the next level, because they will monkey branch you. Be careful. You're not just an item or tool to be used by somebody. You're a human being. And you must be respected. I saw another guy down by the bus depot that was locked up when I was working in the jail. And he wasn't as sophisticated. He was more on a hood level, and he chose those types. And he might walk up and ask a woman for the time, or, Google something for him because his phone is not working. And then he'll, out of nowhere, in the conversation and the transaction, say, oh, I gotta tie my shoe. Hold this drink for me. Just push it on. Oh, okay. And the reaction that he sees is a subservient type of reaction. It's like, oh. Now with somebody who said, oh, hold my drink for me. Someone might say, you better put that on the ground. You can't tell me what to do. He automatically knows that this ain't gonna go too far in my favor. I can't manipulate. I can't find those gaps in this woman's heart, in her being, in her psyche, in her spirit, with her emotions. Let me back up off of this one. She might not be evil, but boom, boom. It's like I could be walking down the street enjoying a nice quiet day, and somebody walk up and hit me. I'm not gonna sit here, oh man. No, boom, boom. I'm hitting you right back, harder. Because I'm ready for that kind of thing. I could be relaxed. But I give you a knee-jerk reaction. You'll be sitting there in shock like, this guy hit me back. Before you pulled your hand back, I bust you in your mouth. Because that's the way I am. Because I know how the world is. I've seen that happen before. But sometimes we have to learn to experience. And I'm just telling you that's how it is in that aspect. And I'm not asking you to see the world as a dark place. As some place where everybody is a predator. But pretty much these days, with the amount of love, compassion, humanity that has been sucked out of the air, out of the atmosphere, this is the jungle in which we roam and move about. People feign the smile. And you can't help but think, oh, they're a nice person who's smiling. They can hate your guts. I know many people in my life, not too far from me, they can't stand me. They can't. And I know this. It's okay. Keep giving me your energy. Keep giving me your thoughts. While I slip in and out my different realities as the gray man, the one you don't remember, the one when in public your eye just passes over. That's the best way to be, while observing everything around you. Like some of these insects that will lean up against a tree and turn into the same color as the tree where you don't see them. That happened to me the other day. I was down in the yard, I'm leaning up against the tree, leaning my shoulder up against the tree, turned around, and something was wrong with the bark. Then it blinked, blink, blink, and I realized this was this lizard-looking thing, but it was an insect. Man, I moved out of there. This thing was big. It camouflaged itself. So anything that was a predator toward that type of insect, animal, lizard, whatever it was, it wouldn't even see it, which put it in a position of power. Move below the radar. Be invisible. Be the gray man or woman. Don't let everybody know your talents and abilities. Sometimes you can't even let everybody know how intelligent you are. I will bring my conversation to the level of the person that's around me or talking to me, so they can't assess. If I'm around folks that are talking some bad English and a little ignorant, I'm going to do the same thing too. For real. I don't want to be too looked at as somebody on the outside, like, okay, he's different than us. Let's find out about it. Let's hate on him. You're not going to be able to indicate anything about me. Whether I have money, don't have money, whatever, you'll know I had a good night's sleep because I'm rested. And I have time. That's about it. But I won't be around too long for you to assess me, to start coming to me in a predatory fashion, to get in my life and suck my life force from me. No, I refuse that. Anyway, that's about it. I might stop this video and realize I had 10 more points to make, but I'll come back tomorrow with something more. Let me know what you think about that. It doesn't mean you just need to have lots of money and influence to attract a woman, right? You can be a regular Joe Blow. You can be a nice guy too now, right? And it could work out fine. You could be a nice guy going for a woman who may have a little more monetary success, right? Doesn't mean you're a bad guy. You just click like that. That's the other side. I don't want to leave that out. Doesn't always mean that the man is evil or the woman is evil. We still have to watch, because what's new to you may not be new to somebody else. It might be a new suit of clothes to you, but it could be something used that somebody tried on, wore around, and brought back and put back on the shelf. You don't know. We don't have stickers like on a car to say, okay, this is a certain age vehicle, and you check the paperwork behind it, and it had an accident here, and this happened. No. People can cover those things up and be new again. Move to a different country, move to a different state, act a certain way, and you don't know what's inside of their heart. So you got to test it, because time is precious. You got things you want to do, and you got things that you want to accomplish, and you don't need anybody in your head the wrong way, screwing you up because they wanted to take your momentum for themselves and move on. No, it don't work that way. Anyway, Lancescurv out. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know what you think. Maybe I was a little bit all over the place, but you get the point. Let's talk about this a little more. Much love to you all. Peace.